Hello everybody, I'm here to read to you today a little bit from this book here. Now, do you think it's a fiction book or a non-fiction book? Remember, fiction means that it's not real, non-fiction means that it is real. So does this look like it might be real? It is real. It's a non-fiction book and it's called The Children's History of Cheltenham. So this week we're thinking all about VE Day, the day that we celebrate when World War II ended. So I'm going to read you a couple of pages from this non-fiction book all about World War II. Let's have a look inside. So already we can see that this definitely is a non-fiction book because it has a contents page. And we are thinking about Wartime, which is on page 26. Here we go. Wartime. There was a terrible air raid last week. It felt like the sky was raining bombs and was the worst one so far. Only now does Mum think it's safe to queue for food again. We've been making do with what we've grown in the garden, but we're desperate for some meat. A meat and potato pie sounds like heaven. Our ration books have become one of our most prized possessions. I know Mum keeps hers next to the bed when she goes to sleep for fear of losing it. So people used to have a ration book that would let them go to the shops and buy only a certain amount of food. Wartime life. Have a look. Do you recognise that picture? Do you recognise where that might be in town? Even though Cheltenham managed to escape much damage during the war, during World War II, people still had to change the way they lived. They carried gas masks in case gas bombs were dropped, and when the sirens went, they had to run to air raid shelters. The Germans had cut off supplies from abroad, so food became scarce. Scarce means that there wasn't very much. People were given ration books, which meant that they were only allowed a small amount of things like meat, eggs, sugar and cheese. This way, everyone had a fair share. Rationing of some foods didn't end until 1954, and the last thing to go was meat. Many allies, including the American forces, were stationed in Cheltenham. The Pittville pump room was used as a base for the Americans during the war, and some schools were also taken over. This photo, taken in about 1944, shows people queuing for potatoes at Collier's markets in the colonnade. The queues stretched all the way to the promenade. So have a look and you see all the people queuing up here. Bombings and defence. Air raid shelters were built and iron railings were removed to make weapons. Thousands of evacuees arrived from Birmingham and London, but even Cheltenham was bombed. On the night of the 11th of December 1940, 155 bombs were dropped and 23 people killed. Hitler had decided to attack all the beautiful cities in the hope of breaking people's spirits. German prisoners of war were billeted in Leckhampton. Some remained after the war and married local girls. I hope somebody nice picks us up. So these children here were sent to Cheltenham from somewhere, maybe from Birmingham or maybe from London, were sent to Cheltenham because it was thought to be safer in Cheltenham than it was where they were living before. Gas masks were made for animals such as dogs and cats. That's almost like a little did you know box, isn't it? We learnt about those. GCHQ. After the war, the government communications headquarters were moved from London. Cheltenham was chosen as the new location because of its excellent transport links with all parts of the country. The move happened in 1951 and GCHQ still operates, providing intelligence to the armed forces. Can you think, do you know where GCHQ is? Maybe you know a grown-up who might work there. How do we know? We know that people used gas masks during wartime to protect themselves. Many gas masks can be seen in museums, in surprisingly good condition as they were actually rarely needed. There are also written accounts of people who lived during the war and of course the stories of people still living who experienced the events firsthand. When we say they experienced things firsthand, it means that they were there, they remember, they saw things that happened. Some air raid shelters still remain and a few houses in Rodborough Avenue even have them at the bottom of their gardens. Wow. Maybe you could talk to your grown-ups and see if you know anybody in your family or any close family friends that maybe were alive during the war. Maybe you might be able to give them a phone call and talk to them and see if they can tell you about what it was like at the time. Now, it's been lovely to read to you. Remember, have a look and see if you can find any non-fiction books in your house, and I will see you again soon. Look after yourself. Bye-bye.